epidemiology. It's a very good science. I have made my life, supported a family, have children, grandchildren, because of epidemiology. So I hate to criticize epidemiology. It's a good friend of mine, but it's a science that sucks. Science is good with big population, thousands of people. When you start coming down to a few people, 100 people, 200 people, you cannot draw a very good conclusion. It's better for the big numbers. So, yeah, and you can see that. One person has a pneumonia. Well, looking into the lung, making cultures is going to tell you. One person has pneumonia, looking at the number of people that are sick is not going to tell you anything. Now, if you have a convention with 1,000 veterans and 60 of them are getting sick all at once, that's a different story. Now you have 60 people that were healthy, that went to a hotel at the convention, and 60 of them, so that's a big number. Then you start wondering what happened to them. And you know, that's the story of the Legionnaire disease, where it took a long time, but they find out that there was a new bacteria, that there was a condenser and little particle of aerosol that make these people sick. So epidemiology likes big numbers. So we try to find areas, and here you see you have 2 zip codes. And the criticism of these numbers for the cancer is that you are only a small population in Bayou, Corne, a small population in a big zip code. You can see population about 5, 6, 4,000. My impression is that in that small area of Bayou, Corne, there is about maybe 400, 300, between 300 and 600 people, maybe 450. There is about 150 houses from what I have seen. So if there is 2 or 3 persons inside there, we're talking about a few hundred people. It's difficult to evaluate, to draw a lot of conclusion on a small population. Next, please. Well, you know the place better than me. Although I went to have a look, because it doesn't make any sense to speak about something when you just have seen numbers and maps. You have to go have a look, and they gave me they were going to go the tour of the bubbles. And it was a very interesting tour to look at to go all the places to see how they measure the bubbles and all that. And then I went throughout the area to see how it looks like. Next, please. So there is somebody in that area that has done a very nice map, and where you even have the names. I don't put the names here. I was told that the names didn't show, but just because they didn't like the names to be able to show, I put all these nasty colors there. And that way you can, but you know probably who lives in which block. So next. So there are some surveys that were done. The person that made the map made a quick survey and they did a very good job at doing the map. I mean, fairly often that's one of the jobs that we do, is to make map of places to find out, you know, people are sick in a school. You want to find out if they're all sick in one area or in a building. So making maps is fairly useful. And they did a very good job. And that's the survey that's on the right. So you can see there is very little of the other one, but they are the people that were living with cancer. And we'll talk a lot about the cancer. And then the other ones, there are a few, but I think this is a lower estimate. Then the other survey that I found was in the Lean website. Problem with the Lean website, I don't see how many people, how many households, how many individuals. It would be nice so you can know, but Lean put out the percentage of people that had headaches, sore throat, nose irritation, whatever is fatigue, mood changes, coughing, nosebleed, skin irritations, and you go on. Doing a health study, a health survey, whatever, yes?
Your survey, and you got it from Lean.
It's not my survey, but I think it's...
Well, I mean, you're using it, so...
Yes.
So the information that's provided through Lean is information that people went on their website and put. Is
yes.
that correct?
Yes.
So if someone didn't go on the Lean website and put information on there, then this isn't a true picture of the community.
Especially 450 people.
I show you the facts.
Well,
That's been our complaint.
Yes.
But the fact is that if 100% of the people did not participate in this, then it's not accurate.
That's a reasonable way to interpret it. You can interpret everything in different ways. You can say not everybody went there, and somebody else is going to say, oh, the people that have an axe to grind went there. I mean, you know, if you subscribe to a magazine, you are going to see somebody painted his house yellow. And you have the people that say, painting the house yellow was the most ridiculous thing they could have done. And then you have somebody else that says, painting the house yellow brings some life into the community. That was the best thing that was done. Obviously, there are many problems with health survey, and that's kind of confirmed. You see, health survey are fairly often done. Health survey, you ask people how they feel. And you have some people that may invent things. But you have some people, if you ask me, you have some people that they have a mild headache, it doesn't bother them, they don't even pay attention. I mean, my son-in-law, he can have a big headache. You ask him how you feel, I'm fine. His wife, she has a little bit of a headache. You go to the neighborhood pharmacy, there is no more Aleve. There is no more ibuprofen, and aspirin is low. So you can see, so these health surveys, yeah, there is the difference between people, how they feel. You have the people that answer, you have the people that are not from the area that may answer, you have the people that don't answer because they never use the computer. Yeah, I mean, you have all kinds of things. And so these health surveys produce data that's not very useful fairly often. So they are difficult to interpret. You can see we can have different interpretation. And then they never prove anything. So you have more headache than you would expect. Then what? Is it...
You compared it with Baton Rouge. I left Baton Rouge to come down and have good air to breathe, and I'm still breathing beans green. You know,
so,
I mean, how you...
And I'll give you another example.
Baton Rouge?
Hmm?
You got any numbers on benzene in Baton Rouge?
You just told you it's better than that.
Yeah, better. But have you got any numbers?
It's worse in Baton Rouge. The benzene and everything. It's better here, yes.
If we
Because
wanted,
benzene's and gasoline in their cars exhaust.
a true picture of what Bayou Corne is, wouldn't it be a good idea to ask the community to participate in a survey like this and then come back and give this information to us?
Yeah, but it is not. You also will have a table number 3. That's not going to prove anything. You still don't know, and I'll show you next.
Well, you said this is the facts.
This is common conditions in health. This is a national survey that's done on a sample. Okay? And when you ask people, have you ever been told by a doctor that you have? And that's done by the CDC, by people, you know, the summary of the health statistic for US adults, the National Health Interview Survey, and it's the CDC that does that. It's done according to the best way
Available method.
Yeah, available method. Heart disease, 12%. Coronary, and that's representative of the adults 18 and over. Coronary heart disease, 6%. We are told by your doctor. Cancer, it's 8%. Then look in the past 12 months, hay fever, sinusitis, chronic bronchitis. So in the past 3 months, migraine, severe headache, 17%. So you end up with that. You can see these numbers are not very small. So you do a survey of the community. Let's take an example. And instead of 17% of migraine or severe headache, you have 25%. How much it means? What does it mean on a population of 400 people or 450 people? Well, you have 25% headache instead of 17. How do you use that? What is it going to prove? Nothing. One is going to say it's in excess because of this. Another one would say, well, you know, 17, 25% is no big deal. And then you have 36, not 36, but you have 5 or 6 interpretations. You have wasted a lot of time, and you don't have an answer.
But isn't percentage the same whether you use a large number or a small number? If your percentage is still going to, if you use a large figure, 1,000, and you got 60, that percentage is probably, if I go down to 150 people and I use maybe 6 or 4, that percentage is still going to be the same.
Not exactly.
How far is it going to be off?
It can be off by a lot. If you look at statistics, when you do a survey, if you do a survey of a large number of people, you have a low, what they call the confidence interval. So confidence interval for a very large sample, 17% plus or minus 3%. So the reality, and you have seen that in the recent polls. You know, are you aware? You know, we had an election not long ago, and almost every day there are different people that were doing polls. So the larger your sample, the smaller the confidence interval. In a population of 450, you will have a larger confidence interval than in a large population. And how do you know that the 450 do not have some other conditions that are going to skew it a little bit higher or a little bit lower? And how do you know the role of the odor versus the smell, versus the smell of versus the benzene versus something else? I have seen, and we have done surveys like that for years, many of them. Usually, it's a waste of time. At the end, you have more questions than you have answers. And I have even seen in another area, suggestion was made, because the suggestion from the public, let's do a study. So usually you try to explain it's a waste of time, you'll end up with numbers that everybody continues to agree, you continue to disagree, and you don't end up with anything. And even a group of environmentalists that at that time were telling the people it's a waste of time to do a study. You don't show anything. And then you always have, then you are going to bring your health study to, I was going to say an industry, but you know, you have nice people too everywhere. You bring the result of the health study to somebody that disagrees with you and that has good reason to disagree with you. And they are going to say, well, who says they have a headache? They say they have a headache, but maybe they are very sensitive to headache, maybe they are just making things up. At the end, you don't show anything. A level of benzene is a level of benzene, is a machine. You can check the machine, and you can check how much there is in the city, in the house. There is less argument than a study.
And I agree with you. So therefore, everybody has a different level of health and sensitivity to everything.
Yes.
So you can't just lump us all into that survey or whatever it is and say, this is the norm for the nation or whatever, and so we're going to judge this community by that norm.
No, I agree with you, there is no norm. So when you have no norm, what do you do with the data? I mean, I'm sure...
I would think that this community would, and they would have to say it,